Hello and welcome to the Quiver channel. I am Jason, your host. And you know what? Whenever I see one of my videos get downvoted, it interests me. Not many of my videos do get disliked. In fact, I would say 99% of the videos that I make never get a dislike on them at all. Usually when I get a dislike, it is one about money. Usually it's about disability and using money for disability. This is when the people come out of the woodwork. This is when people say, oh, I go to work all week and I can't do this, I can't afford a Steam Deck, I can't afford VR, I can't blah 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 blah. They go on. This is why those videos are important. See, if you're a paraplegic and you spend £45,000 on a wheelchair with voice activation software and everything, no one will bat an eye. No one will say that you're doing anything wrong. If you GoFundMe for that amount, if you raise it via charity and everything else, nobody will bat an eye because they can see your disability. A blind person's paying £1,000 for a smart cane, paying £800 for some sonar glasses to help them to be able to see. A person on dialysis with a £45,000 to £55,000 home thingy so that they can stay at home and have dialysis. Won't bat an eye at that. People who spend up to £50,000, £60,000 on modifications to their car to allow a disabled person to get places, because it can add up if you have the ramps and everything. Thankfully, a lot of innovation has been made when it comes to vehicles and ways of making it a lot cheaper. But the moment you put disabled and you class it as a medical thing, the price is double and triple, so much so. Those are okay. People can accept all those because they can see the person and see what's wrong. Invisible disabilities open you up, as I have always known from the first day I went on YouTube and that, to ridicule and suspicion. These people are so used to lying themselves that they judge everybody else as a liar. They're so used to taking any chance they can and screwing over the systems that they assume that everybody else does. It's a very lopsided system, and it's never judge a book by its cover. It doesn't matter that multiple agencies, which are very, 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 very against giving out money and against giving out help and against getting you on benefits, have all said that I should be on. That even though getting an autistic judgment at my age, especially without being able to bring in my parents or anything, is usually very hard, but there was so much evidence all the way back through my report cards and my whole life, and evidence from different medical parts, that it was a joy to go through the actual process. That when I was signed on to personal independence payment, whereas most people who go through it have to go through an appeal and can be denied, I was never put through that. No, you can say, oh, he's such a good liar, he's such a good at gaming the system that he... But the thing is this. They take almost no notice of what you say as the recipient, because you're biased. All of the reason for me being classified like this is medical professionals. You've all watched the videos, the news of how hard it is for people to get on disability. So imagine how fucked up a person has to be for them to okay it without an appeal. You've all heard the horror stories of how hard it is to get on disability, or to be able to stay on disability, or to be able to deal with all these things. So either I was blessed with such luck from birth, or I really am that screwed up that even the people, it's like when I actually was being put on PIP, the person came out to see me from the agency that they gave, the private agency, which there's lots of horror stories about those agencies. And they came out to see me. I had all the details, all the paperwork there from all my different the therapist, the senior psychologist, the mental health professionals, the GP, the cancer specialist. They came into my house, they picked up the stuff and read through it, and then they looked at me and said, I can't do this. This person actually said, I can't do this. He said to me, I can ask you to walk up the stairs and things like that, but I can't do this. I can't judge your thingy based on this. There's just too much information. He says, we've got somebody at the office who specialises in mental health stuff and that. Can I take all this stuff and show them it? And when they took it away, I was like, oh God, they're going to come back. They're going to organise. They're going to cancel my thing. They're not going to do it. All these things were going through my head because I'd read all of the horror stories to do with it. And I didn't hear anything for weeks and weeks, and I was so paranoid. And my advocates at the places like CAB and that were ringing me up and saying, have you heard from them that please let us know as soon as you get the denial so we can appeal it the same day and get the ball rolling. And I'm like, yep, okay, we'll do that. And the shock that I was under when I was just in the backyard pottering about, and a call came through from the DWP to tell me that I'd been not only put on flagged as disabled, but been flagged as severely disabled, and that asking me permission if they could add me. They had to ask my permission whether or not they could press a button on their system to get me a little extra money because I was severely disabled, because some people don't want that label to be put on their file. And so when I told the people that called me about it, it was like, oh, you have to be so fucked up for that to work. And then these very, very same people who say the words, oh, I wish I could stay home and do all this and not have to go to work and that. I wish the complete opposite. You would think they'd know better. You would think they'd know better, because of what happened with a certain virus and being locked into their house, because they then knew the difference between, oh, I can have a couple of weeks break, awesome, and you can't leave your house. It's a big difference. Last year, I left my house just give me a sec, I'll be able to tell you. Okay, last year I left my house 17 times. And before we discuss all those 17 times, realise that that means that for 339 days I was stuck inside this house without any access to anything outside. That every bit of shopping had to be done online, that I had to depend on online for everything, which, whatever you may think, it's more expensive that way. If I wanted to do a food shop, I can't just go out and get one bag of potatoes. I can't just walk to the local shop and pick up one bag of potatoes there. I have to do a minimum order thing, and I have to budget for it all. So let's talk about the 17. Let's talk about the 17 times I left my house. Okay. 10 of those times were going from my house to outside my house, just outside my front door, to either next door on this side to give a parcel that had arrived at mine because they were out at work, or to go outside my house to take a picture of what was going on next door and the state of the house next door. That was 10 of those entire things. That was the limit. That was the limit of it. And believe me, even while leaving my house like that, I had to be very careful, make sure there was no one around, make sure no one was going to ask me any questions and that could bother me. I had to prepare for each one of those, even though it was just a tiny little next door thing. So that's 10 done. Then we had 2 visits at the beginning of the year to the bank, which was very stressful, but I had to go to sign a form. There was no way of dealing with it online. There was no way of dealing with it via email. There was no way of dealing with it whether we tried. It was a physical bank. You've got to put your signature here. Then there was the one visit to my mum late at night, after I had cleaned up the backyard and that. I wanted to go see my mum and let her know how it was, even though she wouldn't have been able to know because she's at end stage dementia. I wanted to do that, and that wrecked me for quite a while doing that. And the rest were one visit to the GP, which was the last time I went to the VGP, because they actually figured out just how stressful they almost had to call an ambulance for me because I almost couldn't breathe at all by the time I got in that place. Something just triggered and I just was gone. So ever since then, they've done all my appointments and that via voice on the phone, or they've come out to see me. I think I scared them when that happened. And the other couple were hospital visits to have CT scan to check whether my cancer's come back, and to check on another issue. That's it. That's all the times I have left my property line, my safe place. But people don't see, because you see me here, I'm eloquent, and I can talk, and I can enunciate, and I can describe. They think, oh, he can do that, he can do anything. I wonder if you've noticed just how much what's called stim when I'm doing this, when I'm trying to talk about things. The more you see me doing something like this, I don't even notice myself doing it. The more you see me doing this, that's like, it's an emotional break. It's a way to deal with the fact that my brain's trying to deal with something, trying to talk about something that's hard for me. So it's always going to be okay, and people are always going to be able to easily say yes to 20, 30, 40,000 pounds for a disabled person's GoFundMe or anything like that when they've got a visible disability. They're always going to be able to sort out things, and even when Paola had a couple of years left for her life, and I tried to do a GoFundMe and tried to raise some money, I was shot down, and the amount of scams and trash that was done, because Paola was young and this was a con, and I so wish she had been. Entire forums blacklisted me. Just blacklisted me because they thought that it was a con. Paola's illness. And when you think of the price of dialysis machines and everything like that, see, if my illness was actually a physical side of it that showed all the time, then I'd get less hatred, less persecution, less trash talk. But because you see all this technology around me, because you see me like, it's like, oh, I want all that. I could do. I wish I would. Oh my God! Do you know one of the fucking dumbest things? Whenever I talked about how Valve gave me an index, amazing company, there would always be one person in the room who'd say, "Oh, I want a Valve index. What do I have to do to get that?" Some of us have to save up to get it. My mum was not a doting person. My mum helped us out financially and made sure we could have all the disabled stuff and that, because she saw what was going on. But then again, my mum was always perceptive all through my years, even long before I could put a label to anything that was wrong with me. My mum did so much for me to keep an eye on me and to keep me safe. I am always scrambling. Do you know what my biggest fear is? That one day I will run out of coping strategies, or one day things will get so bad that none of it actually works anymore. Hopefully not. It's an interesting situation to be in. I talk about, yes, it'd be so much easier if I kept quiet. It would be so much easier if I kept quiet. I know that. But I talk about this not for me, not for fame or anything. My God, my channel I might have 2,000 plus people subscribed, but the average, my videos get watched by like 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 people maximum, and that will never change. I have been told that I have one of the worst cases of mental issues that they've ever seen. I have so much that's going wrong for my brain that I should be in a mental health unit. It is a testament to the coping strategies of the human mind and everything that I've done here that allows me to continue. And the problem is 90% or more of the people out there will never understand it. Will never understand it because it's not a physical thing. Even though anyone with a bit of perception should be able to tell. This is why when you go for your ADHD assessment, when you go for your bipolar assessment, when you go for autism assessment, there's usually 2 people at least in the room. And one of them is always keeping quiet. One of them is holding back and just observing you. Watching for all the signs, watching for all the things that are going on in you, that while the other person is doing the questions and that. Anyway, this is Jason for the Quiver channel on a ramble. I am now going to be moving some stuff around in my room because I'm bothered at the moment, because I thought he had sorted out my retro side of the room and it hasn't sorted out because the PlayStation 2 doesn't work where it is. The CRT doesn't pick you up properly, and the CRT I think is dying. So I'm going to have to move stuff, and then I'll have this desk free. But what can I do with the desk if the desk's free? What can I put there? What can I add to it? I've got issues now. I've got issues that I've got to thingy, because I've always got to be able to, even if I only use my Atari 2600 once a week, it's a lifesaver. It drops me back in time, away from all the stuff that's going on now. I need it all to work. I need it all to just plug in, turn on and start and work. This is very different than the project stuff. The project stuff is like an overlaying thing where, ooh, yes, it's brilliant to have all these things that I've got to sort out, that I've got to figure out, that will work, that may not work, but it's part of the coping strategy. That was an unusual phone call. But yeah, I okay, I completely forgot what I was talking about, so take care of yourselves. I'm okay. I'm okay. It's always, this is why I spend such a lot of time on my Discord server, because the people there understand what I face. I don't have to explain everything. I do these videos not because I'm special, because I'm not. I do these videos because there's so many other people out there. So many other people out there who don't have a voice. Bye-bye for now.